All right, so obviously we've got some pretty big boycotts going on right now in America with Target and Bud Light. But I'm just going to give my thoughts on this situation. Why are these working? The Target one, I'm a little bit more skeptical on. Says they lost $9 billion in the week following the boycotts. And I think this is a very interesting exchange. You can see NBC, a typical mainstream news, coming out and saying Target, Bud Light, the Dodgers, and Disney have all been backed into a corner over their support of the LGBTQ community. The strategy has conservative activists celebrating, which of course is a complete misrepresentation of what is actually going on. Take a look. Pride has been going on for like 20 years. It was fine. Yeah, exactly. That's the whole idea. The whole Pride thing, Target's been doing these displays forever now. The problem is when you bring the kids into it, it is inherently evil. If you say your child who's 7 or 8, and I've seen it several times on TikTok, you can't say your kid is non-binary because we literally have a term for it. It's called being a tomboy. There are so many young girls that, do things that boys like to do. It became so popular. It was known as a tomboy, but you didn't say, hey, maybe you should change genders. All those girls grew up, and a lot of them, I'm sure, were beautiful, feminine women. But now in 2023, you've got Target coming out and selling things that will aid in this type of behavior to young kids. That's when it got really bad. And it's like people finally realize, like, my values do not align at all with what this corporation is promoting. So why would I give them my money? What sense does that make? And then when it comes to online and kind of the, internet momentum with these protests and these boycotts, I think with Elon Musk controlling Twitter now, you're getting a much more organic view of just how powerful it can be. Because I do think if Musk wasn't the one in control of the algorithm, these things would probably be limited. They would think about it, guys. It is so easy for these people, and it obviously was so easy for them to limit anything online and completely kill its momentum. Particularly, of course, conservative movements, because when you look back at the Twitter employees from 2020, from 2018, the midterms, the data is remarkable. 99% of the money that was donated from Twitter employees went to liberal campaigns. Oh, but they're not biased. No, they wouldn't be. I think they used the algorithm, and any type of movement conservatives had, they would limit it, they would silence it, and then they would call it, oh, it's hate speech. It's hatred against, LGBT or whatever. That's exactly what they would do with something like the Bud Light thing, the Target thing. Again, I don't really know if the Target boycotts are going to work out or not, because it's kind of different with Bud Light. I mean, you could just buy another cheap beer. Everyone was kind of talking about that. Why would Bud Light come out with, that support for Dylan Mulvaney when most of your consumers do not agree with that lifestyle? Why would you do that? What sense? You're trying to break into a new market. Even if you hit it off with that market, it's a very minute group of people. It's clearly pandering. It's clearly trying to better your ESG score. And I would say at this point with that ESG, all of the top companies, I would just boycott them. That's the only way you're going to get this crap to stop. Just boycott all the top ESG score companies. Don't incentivize the ESG score. Don't incentivize it. Don't give your money. It is very hard because there's so many of them now. But that's kind of the thing. It's like, that's when I really started to realize how ridiculous it is. You're talking about Bud Light, whose general consumer is a 19-year-old frat boy. And you're going to come out with that campaign? Do you really think that's going to be popular? I'm sure Bud Light thought, oh, maybe some people will be mad, whatever, la-di-da-di-da. We really haven't seen like an true internet boycott where it gets momentum online and then people actually boycott it until the Bud Light thing. And then I do think the Target thing was more with the children. I'm not going to get into it exactly, but it was more with the children than just kind of the gay pride colors and things like that, because Target and other corporations have been doing that type of thing. But I just thought that tweet was such a good, just NBC, oh, they must be so, horrible. They hate all the LGBTQ. No, it's when you go after the children. That's when it gets really evil and disgusting. I think that's why people put their foot down. Now, Target is interesting because they've actually really broken into the grocery game, and they actually have pretty good prices. I'm not going to lie. When you go there, Walmart does have better prices, but no one wants to shop at Walmart just because it's not maintained well. It's not clean. Target is, so it'll be interesting to see if this actually holds and works, considering Target is more of an essential type store as opposed to something like Bud Light, to where it's cheap beer, you can buy another, whatever, it's very easy. It's a lot easier of a product to boycott than an entire corporation like Target, but now they're boycotting all Budweiser products and things like that. So we'll have to see what ends up happening there, but they did lose $9 billion in overall value. And then Utah Target gets evacuated after it received a bomb threat for turning its back on the LGBT community after Pride Collection walked back. So this is the exact same thing that happened to Bud Light. Bud Light partners with Dylan Mulvaney. All of their base says this is ridiculous, we're boycotting, whatever. They walk it back. They try and put out a commercial that's really American. And then obviously all of the activists say, oh, you're going to turn your back on the trans community. We're also going to boycott you. And then a Target gets evacuated because an LGBTQ person sends in a bomb threat, because now that Target is facing all this backlash, they're losing $9 billion in value. They move all the LGBTQ stuff to the back, and now you're getting it from both sides. So it's the exact same conundrum that these corporations are facing. And again, these are all choices that consumers are making. They're realizing the place that I'm giving my money to, I do not agree with at all. I do not agree with the stuff that they're promoting. If there are other options out there for me to shop at, why would I not just do that? Again, it is a lot easier to boycott Bud Light because it's a beer, but still, it's kind of the same idea. So I don't know where this Target boycott will go, but I think with Elon Musk buying Twitter, enabling a completely free algorithm, as opposed to if this thing was happening in 2019, 2020, it's a lot more free. In 2019, 2020, I think they shut down the momentum of these boycotts through censoring keywords, things like that. They're not going to show anything, and then they'll say, oh, it's because it's hatred towards a minority group or whatever it is. That's kind of the way they would swing it. So that is just my opinion. It's internet momentum with Bud Light, with Target, and it's with kind of a more free social media, people seeing this and saying, we don't really agree with it, we're not going to shop there. And Bud Light is pretty much screwed at this point. What they should have done is they should have immediately, after like a week or two, admitted it was a dumb idea, had a funny meme, said whatever, and then went on with their way. They doubled down on it with that woke woman and come out and say, oh, we're trying to reach a different set of people, which is just ridiculous. Even if you reach those people at such a small amount, it is clearly just trying to improve their ESG score or something along those lines. Because if you're a business, why would you take such a massive risk, possibly alienating 75% of your consumers just to try and reach an extra 5 to 10%? That doesn't make any sense. There has to be something else at play. That's why I started looking into this, and I was like, what is going on here? Why would you do that? Maybe it's the ESG score to get a better score. That's really the only thing I could think of. And then with Target, I think that's just something they do every year. The other thing that was really disgusting with Target, they got the satanic person or whatever. They hired some satanic designer who loves, the devil and Satan to design kids' clothing. I mean, just how is that acceptable in the United States at this point for a major corporation? I don't know. People within their right don't want to shop at a place that promotes stuff like that. Obviously, any normal family would look at that and be like, that's a little ridiculous here. I'm not even someone that's really all that religious, but and then how about the Los Angeles Dodgers, where Manfred tries shutting that down? They have those people that, they were going to perform that's another thing with the MLB that I realized that was pretty crazy. So last year, the MLB, it was the Tampa Bay Rays. They had a gay pride night, and I was like, wow. But I originally had just thought it's the Rays. I mean, let's be real. They have a horrible stadium. You know, they're bottom. They average like 100 people per game. It's kind of a joke. But no, a lot of teams do these LGBT, nights. Imagine going to a baseball game, and I'm not saying I don't have anything against that community, but I do think it's a bit ridiculous if I'm going to a game and like, is it every half inning they're trying, like, come on, man. It's just too much at a certain point. It is ridiculous. You're trying to force it. You're really trying to force it. But either way, guys, that is just my current speculation on the boycotts that are happening with Target and Bud Light. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. That's going to do it for this video.